Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds in the studio on a Thursday morning. Now, at this point, it's really tough to say what a team's strength of schedule is. You can look at the schedule and say, okay, I see where your bye week falls. Oh, man, they only got 4 or 5 games between those 2 games. You can look at it from that perspective. What do you think about the Chiefs in that regard?
Well, I think the NFL admits to the fact that they gave them a tough way to go. And it isn't the fact they did it on purpose. Well, yes, they did, too. They did it on purpose, but there's a reason why they did it. First of all, it doesn't have anything to do with the teams. That's a formula that's used. So the teams notwithstanding, the Chiefs already know who they were going to play. It is the schedule that the NFL handed out. Now, the opening night game is a Thursday night. That's the Chiefs' choice. That's not a rule. It is a courtesy that's given to the Super Bowl champion. They have the option of opening up on a Thursday night, and Chiefs always. Who's not going to? It's national television,
First game,
and it's a big
go.
deal. So Come on, that's fine. Then from there on in, the Chiefs' opponents are regulated in such a way as to be pretty difficult. In fact, later on in the season, there are 3 games in 10 days. Now, why did the NFL do that? TV, popularity. So in a way, the Chiefs are their, if you can put it in this term, their own worst enemy because they are so popular. Everybody wants to see Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and everything else that goes with the Kansas City Chiefs. So they put them in prime TV spots, which happens by the calendar to fall in a 3-day period. And there's only one day in the week that the Chiefs don't play, and that's a Tuesday night. It's a victim of their own circumstance, but the NFL may have been able to judge this a little bit better, maybe, but it is what it is. They put out the schedule, and Chiefs are going to have to live with it.
I know that you and I agree on a way to fix that. 2 preseason games, give them 1 more bye week. It fixes it for everyone.
Well, that would be 18 games, 18 regular season games, and I'd have no problem with that at all.
That's what I'm saying. Give them another week. That's what they want. All right, now we know where the 2026 NFL draft is going to be. Pittsburgh. It's kind of in your old backyard, isn't it?
Well, not really. You would think being in the same state, but Pittsburgh's about 400 miles from Philadelphia.
It's still not that far.
I don't want to walk it.
I definitely am not going to the draft there, I'll tell you that much, fighting with a bunch of Steeler fans.
And they will be in a park in Pittsburgh, and I think they have part of it at their what used to be called Heinz Field. It has another name now, but I think it's going to be. But that's 2026. What about this year? What about this coming season, the 2025 one? Well, actually, it'll be next year, next spring. That's in Green Bay, and they'll have a big time up in Green Bay. Titletown, they used to call it. That'll be a very big deal. But Green Bay in 2025, Pittsburgh in 2026 for the NFL draft. And who'd have thought 25 years ago we'd be talking about this?
This soon. We haven't even started the 2024 regular season yet. Last but not least, let's talk about hockey and basketball.
In basketball, I'll tell you, every time I see the guy play, Luka Doncic, I have to be really impressed with what he does. He's a pure scorer. The guy is only 25, 26 years old, somewhere around there. Didn't play basketball in this country, but he has been a pro since he was 14 years old, and that was in Serbia. Doncic is a hell of a player. He had 33 points last night, and somehow the Dallas Mavericks went into Minneapolis and beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 108-105. Now, does that mean that Dallas is going to win the series? Well, we saw Denver come back and tie their series. Matter of fact, take the lead and still lose it to the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll see what happens. First game, though, goes to the Mavericks, 108-105. And in the National Hockey League, the Florida Panthers, who are based in the Miami area, fly to Madison Square Garden and beat the New York Rangers and shut them out 3-0. That series is still in its novelty stages, so we'll see how these all work out. These are all the semifinal rounds before we get to the championship series itself.
St. Louis Cardinals look like they've got some life in them this week.
They have reawakened from their hibernation of the winter that carried over into the spring. I would never have thought they would have swept the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore's a really fine baseball team, but the Cardinals did sweep them. Took a 1.5 game win yesterday. The half game was a makeup of a suspended game from the night before, and the Cardinals won that one 3-1. When the game began, it was 1-1, so the Cardinals did rally to win it. And then in the regularly scheduled game, the Orioles got off to a 3-0 lead. Cardinals overhauled that, got a 5-3 lead, and then in the 9th inning, and this is the way the variables work, the Orioles are rallying. They bring in For the fourth run, it's 5-4. And then I've forgotten who it was, one of the players hits a smash into deep right center field. It's going to bring in everybody. Right fielder makes the catch, turns around, throws to first base, gets a double play out of it, and that ended the rally right there. That is baseball. Those things do happen. Cardinals take today off and then host the Chicago Cubs coming up this weekend.
Man, speaking of sweeps, my Kansas City Royals got themselves a sweep. Not against a team as good as the Orioles, but still a sweep nonetheless.
Still, it's a major league team, and the Royals are just playing lights-out baseball. 3 RBIs for Freddie Fermin. Where does he come from? 2 for Bobby Witt Jr. Cole Ragans. Now get this. Ragans pitches 6 innings, allows 1 hit, and strikes out 12. 12 Detroit Tigers went down, and the Royals are winners over the Detroit Tigers. 8-3 is the final score. Now Kansas City has won those games at home, and this is, I believe, 6 straight wins for them. That's all at home. Now they have the Tampa Bay Rays, and they are going there to play, and that starts tomorrow. Tampa Bay is not the Rays of the past, but the season is still very young, and lots of things can happen. But Kansas City is playing some great baseball, folks.
Absolutely. And then Springfield Cardinals, I know you got a game Friday night on TV, and they've got a lot of stuff going on at Hammons this weekend.
They had a doubleheader last night and lost both games. Tulsa Drillers beat them by scores. Well, they were both 7-inning games, of course, but the Drillers won both of them, and that doesn't sit very well. The Cardinals are 23-18. That's still a really, really good record. Down a little bit from what it was at the very start, but still winning baseball and coming on, and I think going to play very well. And yeah, we do have tomorrow night's game, the Friday night game on TV.
2 and out for the baseball Bears. So what's the final record for our hometown college team?
Well, they finished with 23 wins and 34 losses and did lose to Belmont yesterday 6-4. Only 2 games up there, and of course it's double elimination. And the Bears lost 2 games. 3 errors for the Bears, and that doesn't sit very well. But it really is what we have seen all season long. Bears even did have the lead in this game over Belmont, but they couldn't hold on to it. The pitching staff just is not there, and that's the relief staff. So in the offseason, the new coach, whomever it might be, since Keith Gutton is retiring, will have some work to do to get some new individuals out there. Coach Gutton, who certainly didn't want to leave on a note like this, finishes with 1,396 wins. That's second all-time in the Missouri Valley Conference, and second among all active coaches across the nation. Now, when you list all of the coaches, Keith is probably around 14, 15 through 16, somewhere in that vicinity. But in terms of active baseball coaches, he is number 2 in America. That is very good. Tough way to finish your career with the losses that they sustained, 3 of them, 3 in a row. But does happen. That's baseball, and congratulations to Keith and the staff. Still, Keith Gutton goes into retirement as one of the all-time greats.
Brought a lot of great teams to the area, and again, had a lot of great seasons to watch. So thank you for what you did for the city and that school. Ned, you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.